Chapter 1. Before the sun, the northern night fades ***. Before the sun even thinks about waking up, the land is already awake in its own quiet way. Northern Scandinavia rests under a deep, blue-gray sky. Not dark like pitch, not bright like morning. Just that in-between time where night is slowly packing its bags, but hasn't left yet. The air is cold. Not dramatic cold. Just enough to remind you where you are. It slips into your lungs and sits there calm and sharp. The ground is damp with dew, and every blade of grass holds a tiny bead of water, waiting for light to give it purpose. Longhouses sit low against the earth, dark shapes in the distance. They look almost asleep themselves. Thick wooden walls, turf roofs heavy with grass and soil. No windows glowing. No smoke rising yet. Just stillness. Inside, families sleep close together, wrapped in wool and animal skins, breathing slowly, completely unaware that history is quietly happening around them. Somewhere nearby, a sheep shifts its weight. A cow snorts softly, annoyed by nothing in particular. A horse flicks its tail, likely dreaming of better hay. These small sounds float through the cold air, gentle and unimportant, yet essential. This is not a silent world. It is simply a patient one. The wind moves slowly across the fields. It brushes past fences made of rough wood and stone, carrying the smell of soil and grass and animals. There is no rush. The land has been here for thousands of years. It knows the sun will arrive when it's ready. It is late spring, or maybe early autumn. The kind of season Viking farmers prefer. The earth is workable. The days are long enough to matter. Winter is not pressing too close yet, but it's never forgotten. In this part of the world, winter is like an old neighbor who never moves away. You plan your life knowing it will knock again. This is farming land. Modest fields stretch outward, uneven and imperfect. No neat lines, no fancy borders. Just soil that has been argued with for generations. Barley, rye, and oats grow here if the weather agrees. And if it doesn't, well, the farmer adapts. Or complains quietly to the sky. Probably both. Life here follows the sun. Not clocks. Not bells. Not schedules written down anywhere. When the light comes, work begins. When it leaves, work ends. Simple, honest, slightly exhausting. Our Viking farmer is still asleep inside one of those longhouses. He doesn't have a name today. He doesn't need one. He is one of many. His hands are rough. His back aches in places he doesn't talk about. His life is shaped by repetition, and he is perfectly fine with that. Beside him sleep his family, a wife who knows this land as well as he does. Children curled into warmth, unaware of how much work waits for them in the future. Maybe an older relative nearby, breathing slow and deep, full of stories they've already told 100 times. The fire in the longhouse is almost out. Just embers now. A faint orange glow hides under ash, like it's trying not to be noticed. Smoke hangs lightly in the air, drifting up toward the roof opening. The smell of last night's meal still lingers. Something simple, something filling. Nobody here eats for fun. They eat to keep going. Outside, the sky begins to change. Very slowly. A thin line of pale light stretches along the horizon. It's shy at first, like it doesn't want to wake anyone too early. Birds notice before people do. One chirps, then another. Nothing dramatic. Just testing the morning, seeing if it's ready. The sound spreads, gentle and uneven, like the land itself is clearing its throat. Cold air presses against the longhouse walls. Wood creaks softly as it adjusts. Everything moves at its own pace. No alarms, no shouting, no rushing footsteps. This is how Viking life begins most days. Not with battle horns or roaring fires. Just waiting. Waiting for light. Waiting for warmth. Waiting for another day of doing the same things that kept your parents alive and their parents before them. There is comfort in that, even if it doesn't look exciting. The farmer will wake soon. Not because he wants to, but because the light tells him it's time. His body already knows the pattern. He won't stretch too much. Stretching too much reminds you of your age. He'll sit up slowly, careful not to step on anyone, and listen for a moment. That moment matters. It's when he feels the day before it begins. The weather. There. The small sounds that hint at what kind of work lies ahead. Farming teaches you to pay attention. The land always speaks first. Quietly. Outside, mist drifts low over the fields. It moves like breath. Soft, slow, and temporary. Soon the sun will burn it away, but for now it belongs here. This is not a heroic moment. No one will sing about it. But this quiet space between night and day is the foundation of everything that follows. Crops grow because of mornings like this. Families survive because of mornings like this. History continues because someone wakes up when the sun says it's time. And for now, the Viking farmer sleeps just a little longer, wrapped in warmth, while the northern night gently fades away. Chapter 2: Awakening in the Longhouse ****. Inside the longhouse, the night is not fully gone yet. It lingers in the corners, tucked between wooden beams and hiding near the roof. The air smells like old smoke, damp and yesterday's fire. Not unpleasant, just familiar. At the center of the longhouse, the hearth is quiet but not dead. Small red embers glow under a thin layer of ash, like they are pretending to sleep. Every now and then, one shifts and gives off a soft crack. The fire never fully goes out. Letting it die completely would mean more work later, and Viking farmers do not enjoy extra work. They already have plenty. Above the hearth, a smoke hole opens to the sky. It is dark up there, but a faint gray light begins to slip through. Smoke drifts upward slowly, taking its time. No rush. The smoke has nowhere better to be. Thick wooden beams stretch across the ceiling, darkened by years of soot. They are rough and uneven, shaped by hands, not machines. Some of these beams were placed here long before the farmer was born. They creak softly as the temperature changes. like old men adjusting their backs. Along the walls, raised sleeping platforms line the longhouse. Wide wooden frames covered with straw, wool blankets, and animal skins. Everyone sleeps together. Not because it's cozy. Well, maybe a little. Mostly because it's warm, and warmth matters. One person stirs, then another. A child rolls over and steals more blanket than they deserve. Nobody complains. Not yet. The farmer wakes slowly. His eyes open, but his body stays still for a moment. This is not laziness. This is strategy. Moving too fast reminds you of every ache you collected yesterday. He listens first. Fire, wind, animals outside. Everything sounds normal. Good. No surprise disasters. Always a relief. Beside him, his wife shifts and sits up. She pulls her wool blanket tighter around her shoulders. Wool is itchy, but it works. Viking life is built on things that work, not things that feel nice. Around them, the rest of the household begins to wake. Children blink and squint, confused about why morning keeps happening every day. An older family member coughs lightly, then settles again. Someone yawns, long and loud, without apology. Privacy is not a thing here. Clothing waits nearby. Simple linen tunics, wool layers. Nothing fancy. No bright colors. These clothes are made for movement, for dirt, for weather that changes its mind without warning. The farmer pulls on his tunic slowly, careful with stiff fingers. Cold air bites just enough to wake him fully. Animal skins slide off the platforms as people sit up. Straw rustles softly. The longhouse fills with quiet movement. No talking yet. Talking can wait until the fire is awake. Someone kneels by the hearth. A stick pushes ash aside. Breath. A small spark catches. Embers glow brighter, like they are pleased to be useful again. A bit of dried wood is added. Then another. Smoke thickens and curls upward, doing its job. The fire wakes the room. Light flickers across wooden walls and faces still half asleep. Shadows dance and stretch. The longhouse feels alive again. This is one of the first rituals of the day. Stirring the fire. Always the fire. Without it, nothing works. No warmth. No food. No comfort. Fire is not exciting here. It is essential. Like breathing, people move carefully around one another. Everyone knows where to step, where not to step. Years of shared space teach you these things. A foot placed wrong can mean a very loud complaint before sunrise, and nobody wants that. Children are nudged awake gently. A hand on a shoulder. A whispered word. No shouting. No sudden noise. Mornings are eased into, not attacked. The day is long enough already. The household has structure, even if it looks messy to an outsider. The farmer leads the work, but not with words. With habit. With example. His wife manages the inside world. Fire, food, clothing. Children learn by watching, not by being told long speeches. Everyone has a role, even the youngest, even if their role is just to stay out of the way. That alone takes practice. There is respect here, but it is quiet. No bowing, no big gestures. just knowing who does what and doing your part without making it harder for everyone else. As the fire grows stronger, the chill fades a little. Hands stretch closer to the warmth. Fingers relax. Shoulders drop. Morning begins to feel possible. Someone fetches water. Another straightens bedding, shaking out blankets and folding skins. These motions are slow and repeated every day. That repetition brings comfort. You do not have to think much. Your body remembers. The farmer stands now, fully dressed. He rolls his shoulders once, testing them. They respond with a dull ache. Acceptable. He nods slightly, as if agreeing with his own body. Yes, we can do this again. The longhouse hums quietly, not with noise, but with presence. Breathing, fire, small movements. This is the sound of a household waking up together. Outside, the light grows stronger. Inside, the fire answers back. No one talks about plans yet. No one talks about worries. That comes later, if at all. Right now, the focus is simple. Wake up, warm up, be ready. These calm, repetitive routines are not boring. They are grounding. They tell everyone that the world still works the same way it did yesterday. That is comforting in a place where storms, cold, and hunger are never far away. The day has not started yet. Not really. But the longhouse is awake. And that means everything else will follow. Chapter 3, Morning Fire and First Meal ****. The hearth is awake now. Not roaring. Just alive enough to matter. Small flames lick at the wood, stretching like they just woke up too. The fire pops once, as if clearing its throat. Smoke rises and slips out through the hole in the roof, slow and lazy. Rekindling the fire is never rushed. You rush fire, it gets rude. It smokes too much. It refuses to burn right. Viking farmers learned this the hard way many mornings ago. So wood is added carefully. Dry pieces first, then thicker ones. The flames grow steady, calm, reliable, much like the people who depend on them. The fire does 3 things at once. It warms the longhouse, it lights it, and it reminds everyone that today is happening whether they feel ready or not. Fire has no patience for sleeping in. A pot is brought closer to the flames. Heavy, dark from years of soot. It has seen many meals. It will see many more. Inside goes water, then grains. Barley mostly. Nothing fancy. This is porridge. The kind that sticks to your ribs and stays there. Nobody eats it for joy. They eat it because it works. Someone stirs slowly with a wooden spoon. Stirring is important. Forget to stir, and the porridge sticks. Scraping burnt grain off the bottom of a pot before sunrise is not how anyone wants to start a day. Nearby, flat bread waits. Dense, dark, a little hard around the edges. It was baked earlier, maybe days ago. Bread like this lasts. That matters. A piece is broken off and warmed near the fire. Not toasted, just softened enough so it doesn't fight back when you chew. Leftover stew sits in another pot. Yesterday's meal, made better by time. Meat if they had it. Fruits, maybe cabbage, maybe onion. Depends on luck and season. Stew improves overnight. Even Vikings knew that. The tools used here are simple. No sharp knives waving around for drama. Just wooden spoons, iron pots, and thick hands that know what they're doing. Everything has a place. Everything is used until it cannot be used anymore. Then it becomes something else. Or firewood. Cooking happens close to the ground. Kneeling, squatting, leaning. The fire is the center of the world here. You do not turn your back on it. You respect it. Also, it burns you if you don't. As the porridge thickens, the smell changes. Warm grain, smoke, hint of earth. It fills the longhouse and tells everyone the same message. Food is coming. Children drift closer without being called. Funny how that works. Adults notice too, but pretend they were already standing there for other reasons. Bowls are set out. Wooden. Carved by someone in the family long ago. No two are exactly the same. Nobody cares. Perfection is not useful. The farmer sits down with the rest of them. No head of the table. No special seat. Just a place by the fire, close enough to feel the warmth on his knees. He rubs his hands together once, then holds them out to the flames. Not too close. Experience teaches distance. Food is served quietly. A ladle dips into the pot. Porridge pours out thick and slow. A piece of bread is added. A spoonful of stew if there's enough. There is usually enough. Someone always makes sure of that. They eat together. Not talking much. Mouths are busy. Mornings are for chewing, not stories. The only sounds are spoons against bowls, fire cracking, and the occasional satisfied breath. Communal meals matter here. Not because of ceremony. Because this is how everyone stays alive. You eat together. You work together. You survive together. Simple math. Nobody eats fast. Food is too important for that. You take your time. Let it warm you from the inside. Let it tell your body that it has fuel now. That it can face the cold air and the hard ground again. A child makes a face at the porridge. Just for a second. An adult notices. The look is enough. The porridge is eaten. Some lessons do not need words. The fire flickers brighter as more wood is added. Light dances across the walls. Shadows move like they have their own plans. The longhouse feels safer with fire fully awake. Darkness has fewer places to hide. Fire is more than heat. It is comfort. It pushes back the cold that lives outside. It makes the space feel smaller, closer, kinder. On bad days, the fire listens without interrupting. On good days, it just keeps doing its job. After eating, bowls are scraped clean. Not a grain wasted. Bread soaks up the last bits of stew. Fingers do the rest. Water rinses the bowls. They are stacked neatly, ready for later. There will always be later. The farmer finishes his meal and sits still for a moment. This pause is important. It is the last calm moment before the day pulls him outward. Fields, animals, tools, weather. He looks into the fire, not thinking deep thoughts, just letting his mind settle. Fire has a way of doing that. Staring into it feels like rest, even when your body knows work is coming. Around him, the household rises slowly. Blankets are folded. Cloaks are pulled on. Boots are found. One is always harder to find than the other. This is tradition. The fire stays. Someone will tend it. Someone always does. Fire does not like being ignored. It remembers. As the longhouse fills with movement again, the warmth follows. Light stretches farther into the corners. The morning feels solid now. Real. The first meal is done. Nothing fancy happened. No celebration. No speeches. But everyone is warmer. Everyone is fed. And in a Viking farmer's world, that means the day can begin. Chapter 4, Dressing for the Day's Work ****. After the first meal, the longhouse does not rush forward. It settles. Bellies are warm. Fire is steady. Now comes dressing for the day's work, which is not exciting, but very important. Wearing the wrong thing can turn a normal day into a very long one. Everything starts with linen. Simple, plain linen. Undone. Soft from use, not from luxury. Linen sits against the skin and keeps wool from scratching too much. Because wool always scratches. Vikings accepted this. Complaining does not make wool softer. The farmer pulls his linen tunic over his head slowly. Not because he is tired, but because rushing causes elbows to hit beams, and beams always win. The fabric smells clean in a very basic way. Like air and smoke and time. Over that comes wool. A thicker tunic, heavier, warmer, and ready for weather that changes its mind without warning. Wool traps heat even when damp. This matters. Rain is not polite in the north. It arrives when it wants. Layers are key. Always layers. Too cold, you add one. Too warm, you remove one. No one dresses for comfort. They dress for survival with a small hope of comfort later. A leather belt goes around a waist, worn smooth from years of use. The belt holds everything together. Tunic, tools, pouches. Without it, nothing stays where it should. Vikings trusted their belts almost as much as their hands. Simple iron tools hang from the belt. A small knife, always a knife, used for food, rope, repairs, and everything else that comes up during a day. Not shiny. Not fancy. Sharp enough. That is enough. Nothing carried here is decoration. Every item has earned its place. If it does not help with work, it stays behind. Carrying useless things makes walking feel longer, and walking already feels long enough. Footwear comes next. Leather shoes, stitched carefully, shaped to fit the foot over time. No thick soles. You feel the ground. Stones, roots, hold. This is not a mistake. Feeling the land helps you move with it. Still, cold ground is cold ground. Wool socks go on first. Thick ones if they have them. Thin ones if they do not. Sometimes extra straw is added inside the shoe for warmth. It works surprisingly well, though it does make a small mess later. Worth it. The farmer stands and shifts his weight, testing his footing. Shoes feel right. Ankles supported enough. He nods to himself. Good enough for today. Season matters when dressing. In late spring, layers stay lighter. Mornings are cold, but days can surprise you with warmth. Early autumn is trickier. Cold sneaks in faster. Extra wool is common. Cloaks are kept close. Winter clothing is heavier. Much heavier. But winter is not today, and that is good news. Still, everyone dresses knowing winter will return. Clothing is always chosen with memory in mind. Colors are dull. Browns, grays, faded reds if someone had the dye long ago. No bright signs of wealth here. Clothing does not show status. It shows usefulness. A well-mended sleeve says more than a fancy color ever could. Patches are common. Very common. A patched tunic is not shameful. It is smart. It means someone fixed it instead of throwing it away. New cloth takes time and work. Old cloth still works. The farmer's wife dresses too. Similar layers. Different fit. Same purpose. She ties her belt and checks her sleeves. Nothing loose. Loose fabric catches on things, and things always pull harder than expected. Children are dressed next. Smaller layers. Extra care. Someone always forgets a sock. Someone always complains about the cold. This is normal. Cold is a teacher here. The household helps each other without talking much. A belt adjusted. A cloak straightened. A knot retied. These small moments keep everyone moving smoothly. No one stands alone in front of the cold. Before stepping outside, the farmer pauses. He tightens his belt once more, adjusts the knife, pulls his cloak closer. This is not fear. It is respect. The land does not care if you are ready or not. Clothing here does not impress anyone. No one is watching. No one is judging. Vikings dress to work, to bend, to lift, to walk long distances without thinking about what they are wearing. Slow preparation matters. Rushing leads to mistakes. Forgotten gloves, untied shoes, a missing knife. Fixing those mistakes later takes more time than doing it right now. The fire crackles softly as if approving. Warmth clings to their clothes for a few moments longer. Soon, cold air will replace it. That is fine. They are ready. The farmer rolls his shoulders again. The weight of his clothing settles. It feels familiar. Like armor, but quieter. No battles today. Just work. He takes a breath. Long, steady. The kind of breath that fills your chest and clears your head. Dressing is done. Preparation is complete. Outside waits the day. Inside, the longhouse watches them go, holding the fire and the warmth for when they return. And with wool on their backs and tools at their sides, the Viking farmer steps forward, dressed not for glory, but for another honest day of labor. Chapter 5, Stepping Outside, the farmstead at dawn ****. The door of the longhouse opens with a slow creak. Wood rubbing against wood. A sound older than memory. Cold air slips inside like it was invited. The farmer steps out first, boots meeting damp earth, and the day finally begins. The farmstead stretches out before him. Not large, not impressive, just enough. A few wooden barns sit nearby, their walls leaning slightly, like they're tired but still willing. Roofs are thick with turf and grass, holding in warmth and holding back rain as best they can. These buildings have seen many winters. They show it. Fences run unevenly around the yard, made from rough timber and stone, repaired more times than anyone can count. No straight lines, no perfect corners. They work, and that is what matters. A broken fence is an invitation. Animals accept invitations very quickly. Animals are already awake. A cow lifts its head and blinks slowly, chewing something it has probably been chewing since yesterday. Sheep huddle together, pretending not to notice the cold. A pig snorts and roots at the ground, always hopeful there is food where there usually isn't. Hope is free. The smell of animals hangs in the air. Strong, honest, a mix of hay, earth, and life happening. The farmer barely notices it. This smell is home. Other places smell wrong. Beyond the farmyard, the fields open up. Mist floats low over the ground, thin and pale, moving slowly like it has nowhere important to be. It softens the edges of everything, makes the world feel quieter, calmer. The mist hugs the land, then slowly pulls away as light grows stronger. Farther out, the fjord rests like a dark ribbon between land and sky. Water barely moves. It reflects the early light in soft silver tones. Somewhere out there, fish wait. Not for today, maybe, but they are there. Always part of the picture. Birds fill the air with sound. Not singing for joy, just talking to each other. One answers another. Then another joins in. The sound spreads across the farmstead, bouncing off wood and stone. It feels like the land clearing its throat before speaking fully. Livestock add their voices. A low moo, a short bleat, a grunt that sounds like a complaint. Morning has arrived, and everyone has an opinion about it. The farmer stands still for a moment. He does this every morning. Looks around. Listens. He is not checking for danger. He is checking for change. Broken fence. An animal missing. Something out of place. The land always leaves clues. The wooden structures around him are worn smooth by wind and rain. Posts are darkened from years of weather. Some beams are patched, others replaced. Nothing here is new for long. Time works fast on wood in the north. Hands built these buildings. Hands repair them. Hands will rebuild them again someday. The farmer runs a palm over a fence post as he walks past. The wood is cold and rough, familiar. The land provides, but it never promises. Crops grow if the weather allows. Animals thrive if they are cared for and lucky. Storms arrive without warning. Frost comes early some years, late others. Farming here is a conversation, not a command. The farmer knows this. His parents knew it. Their parents too. You do not fight the land. You listen. You adapt. You hope. He walks across the yard, boots sinking slightly into the soft ground. Dew darkens the leather. Grass bends and springs back. Each step leaves a mark that will disappear by noon. Nothing stays still for long. Mist curls around his legs as he moves toward the fields. It is cool, damp, and quiet. For a moment, the world feels very small. Just land, just sky, just breath. This land feeds his family. It keeps them busy. It keeps them tired. It keeps them alive. It also challenges them every year, just to make sure they do not get too comfortable. There are days when the farmer feels grateful. Days when the soil is rich, the weather kind, the animals healthy. There are other days when nothing works, and the land feels like it is testing him on purpose. He accepts both. He remembers his father standing in this same place. Same view, same smells, same sounds, showing him how to tell if the ground was ready, how to watch the sky, how to wait. The land carries memory, not written, felt. Every field holds stories of effort. Every fence holds hours of repair. The farmer belongs here because his work is part of the land now. A bird takes off suddenly, wings beating fast. The sound cuts through the quiet, then fades. The farmer watches it go. He smiles slightly. Even the birds know when the day starts. He takes another slow breath. Cold air fills his chest, clears his head. Work will come soon. Animals to tend, fields to walk, tools to use. But for this moment, he stands. The farmstead wakes fully now. Light spreads, mist thins, sounds grow sharper. The world feels ready. This land is not gentle, but it is honest. It gives what it can. It takes what it must. The farmer does not ask for more than that. He turns toward the first task of the day. Boots steady, hands ready. The land waits. And just like every dawn before it, the farmstead holds him, challenges him, and welcomes him back into another day. Chapter 6. Tending to Animals ***. Animals do not care that the sun is barely up. They are already hungry. Very hungry. The farmer knows this. Animals run on stomach clocks, and those clocks are always early. He starts with the cows. Big, slow, and patient. They stand near the barn, breathing clouds into the cold air. One blinks at him like this is his fault. He opens the gate and steps inside, boots crunching softly on straw. Feed comes first. Hay lifted, shaken, and placed where it belongs. The cows lean forward at once, large heads moving with surprising speed. Farming teaches you one thing fast. Never stand between a cow and breakfast. Sheep wait nearby, packed together like a moving blanket of wool. They shuffle and bleat softly, each one convinced it has been waiting the longest. Goats are louder, always louder. They push, they climb, they act like this is a personal emergency. The farmer sighs once. He has known goats long enough not to argue. Pigs are last. They grunt and snort and circle his legs, hopeful and rude. Pigs believe food should appear faster. They are not wrong, but still rude. Livestock are not pets. But they are not just things either. Each animal is a piece of survival. Milk, meat, wool, leather, warmth. Without animals, the farm does not last long. Everyone here knows this. The farmer moves calmly. No shouting. No hitting. Animals respond to routine. Same path. Same order. Same hands. They trust what they recognize. A calm animal is safer for everyone. Milking comes next. The cows are led to their spots, one by one. The farmer sits low on a small stool, close to the ground. He leans in, careful and practiced. Hands move in a steady rhythm. Pull, release, pull, release. Milk hits the bucket with a soft, steady sound, almost soothing. Steam rises faintly in the cold air. Fresh milk smells warm and rich. This milk will become many things. Drink, cheese, butter, food for winter. The farmer checks the milk as he works, looks for anything wrong. Farming teaches you to notice small changes. A sick animal can mean a hard season ahead. When the bucket is full, it is carried carefully back toward the longhouse. Milk is precious. It spills easily. The farmer walks slow, very slow. Spilled milk is not a joke here. Inside, the milk is strained through cloth. Clean cloth. Very important cloth. Then poured into containers. Some will be used today. Some will be saved. Some will be turned into cheese, pressed and salted to last through colder months. Nothing is wasted, ever. Back outside, the animals settle into eating. Sheep chew. Cows chew. Goats chew loudly, like they want credit for it. Pigs chew everything, including things they probably should not. The farmer checks each animal as he moves among them. Eyes clear. Coat healthy. No limping. No strange behavior. He touches their sides, their backs. Calm hands. Calm voice. Animals remember how you treat them. There is respect here. Not the kind that needs words. The kind built from care. The farmer knows these animals give their lives, one way or another. He does his part to make those lives steady and safe while they last. Season always matters. In warmer months, animals roam more freely, grazing, growing strong. In colder months, they are kept closer, fed stored hay, watched carefully. Winter is hard on everyone, animals included. The farmer thinks ahead. Always. Is there enough hay? Enough shelter? Enough time to fix the roof before snow comes? Winter planning begins long before winter arrives. Anyone who waits too long learns a hard lesson. A goat nudges his leg, testing boundaries. He nudges back gently. The goat accepts this as fair. Animal care is repetitive. Feed, check, clean, milk, feed again. It never really ends. Some people find this boring. The farmer finds it comforting. Predictable work calms the mind. The sounds of animals fill the farmstead. Steady, familiar. They tell him everything is normal. Normal is good. He cleans the stalls next. Old straw removed. Fresh straw laid down. The smell changes immediately. Cleaner. Lighter. Small things make a difference. The animals shift and settle. Comfortable animals stay healthier. Healthier animals mean fewer worries later. Everything connects. As the sun climbs higher, warmth slowly reaches the yard. The animals stretch. Some lie down. Others wander. Their needs are met for now. The farmer straightens his back and takes a breath. His hands smell like hay and milk. His clothes are already marked with dirt. Good signs. It means work is being done. He looks over the animals one more time. counts them without thinking. The number is always there, stored in his head, all present, all breathing, all fed. That is success for this part of the day. Animals will need tending again later, and later again. They always do. But for now, they are calm, and that calm spreads across the farmstead like the morning light. The farmer turns toward his next task, knowing the animals are settled, knowing that because of them, his family will eat, stay warm, and face the seasons ahead. In a Viking farmer's life, animals are not background. They are partners in survival. And for today, that partnership is holding strong. Chapter 7, Working the Fields ****. The fields wait. They always do. Quiet, patient, slightly judgmental. The farmer walks toward them with tools in hand, knowing the land will not move itself, no matter how politely you ask. Plowing comes first. A wooden plow with an iron blade at the tip. Simple, heavy, honest. It does not glide. It argues with the soil. The farmer grips the handles, plants his feet, and leans in. The plow cuts a shallow line through the earth, turning dark soil up to meet the air. Progress is slow, very slow. Each step forward feels earned. The ground resists. Stones hide below the surface like little surprises nobody asked for. When the blade hits one, the farmer stops, adjusts, and continues. Getting angry does not help. The stone always wins. Barley grows here. Rye too. Oats where the soil allows. These crops are not chosen for taste. They are chosen because they survive. They grow in cold ground. They forgive poor weather sometimes. They feed people and animals alike. Reliable crops are respected crops. The farmer knows which field holds which grain without thinking. Memory lives in his feet and hands. He feels the soil change under the plow. Slightly softer here, more stubborn there. Soil has moods. You learn them over time. Manual labor fills the morning. No machines, no shortcuts, just muscle, breath, and patience. The plow moves. The soil turns. Rows slowly appear, uneven but real. Each line is a promise. Maybe to be kept. Maybe not. Family joins the work. One child follows behind, breaking larger clumps of earth. Another gathers stones and piles them at the edge of the field. The farmer's wife works nearby, checking earlier rows, adjusting where needed. Nobody stands still for long. No one complains much. Complaining takes energy. Energy is needed for the next row. Work here is shared. Always has been. Fields are too large for one person. Life is too heavy to carry alone. Everyone learns early that effort matters more than speed. The farmer straightens his back and pauses, just for a moment. His shoulders ache. His hands are already stiff. He rolls his neck once and looks up at the sky. Clouds move slowly, not threatening, not helpful either. Neutral. He accepts this. Routine balances the strain. Same motion, same pace, same direction. The body settles into it. Pain fades into the background, replaced by rhythm. Step, push, pull, breathe. The field changes as they work. Dark lines stretch farther. The land looks worked, not wild. Tamed is too strong a word. Borrowed is better. The farmer borrows this land's strength, hoping it will give something back later. Weather always watches. Sun warms the soil a little more with each hour. Wind dries the surface. Too much rain later could ruin all of this. Too little could do the same. Farming is a constant conversation with things you cannot control. The farmer does not ask for perfect weather. Perfect does not exist here. He asks for enough. Enough rain. Enough warmth. Enough time. They break briefly for water. No sitting for long. Sitting too long makes standing harder. They drink, wipe their faces, and return to work. The field is not finished, and it knows it. Children ask small questions. Why here? Why this grain? Answers are short, not because knowledge is hidden, but because work is waiting. Lessons are taught through doing. The plow moves again. Another row. Another small victory. The farmer feels it in his arms, in his legs, in his breath. This is what the body is for. At least this body. Soil clings to boots. Hands darken with dirt. Sweat mixes with cold air. The farmer smiles slightly at the feeling. Not joy. Not misery. Something in between. Familiar. Dependence on the land is total. Everyone here knows that. A bad harvest means hunger. A good one means survival. There is no buffer. No stored comfort beyond what you make yourself. The farmer remembers past seasons. A year when frost came early. A year when rain did not come at all. A year when everything worked just right. Those memories guide his hands now. He adjusts the plow angle slightly. The soil responds better. Small changes matter. Attention matters. By midday, the field looks different. Worked. Open. Ready. The farmer stands at the edge and looks back across the rows. They are not straight, but they are true. They will do. Family gathers near him. Quiet nods. Shared understanding. The work here is done for now. Tomorrow or later today, there will be more. The farmer wipes his hands on his tunic. Dirt stays. That is fine. It will leave when it wants. He takes one last look at the sky. Still calm. Still undecided. He accepts this too. The fields are never finished. They are only paused. And as the farmer turns away, muscles tired and routine steady, the land holds the promise of grain, waiting to see if the season will keep its side of the deal. Chapter 8, Mid-Morning Pause and Observation ****. Work slows without anyone saying so. It just happens. Tools rest against the ground. Hands drop to sides. The farmer steps to the edge of the field and stops. This is the mid-morning pause. Short, quiet, burn. He does not sit right away. Sitting too soon makes getting up harder, and the day is not done with him yet. Instead, he stands and lets his weight settle into his feet. The ground feels firm here. Reliable. That matters. A small container is lifted from his belt. Inside is water, or maybe whey left from the morning's milking. Cool. Slightly sour. Not exciting, but refreshing. He drinks slowly. No big gulps. Big gulps lead to coughing, and coughing feels dramatic for no reason. The liquid moves through him, easing the dryness in his throat. He wipes his mouth with the back of his hand and exhales. That simple act feels like a reward. Around him, the field rests too. Soil turned and waiting. No rush now. Even the land seems to pause, as if acknowledging the effort already given. He looks up at the sky. Clouds drift overhead, slow and unbothered. Thin ones stretch like we'll pulled too far. Thicker ones sit heavier, holding their shape. He watches them carefully. Clouds tell stories if you listen long enough. Wind passes over the field, soft but present. It brushes the graying leaves and sends a low ripple across them. The sound is gentle, almost like the land breathing. Birds cross the sky in uneven lines. One breaks away and circles back, unsure of its plan. The farmer understands this feeling. Time here is not counted. There is no bell, no shadow marked on stone. Time is felt. The warmth of the sun on skin, the angle of light, the way shadows shorten, then slowly begin to stretch again. Mid-morning feels different from early morning. Less sharp, more settled. The cold is pulled back a little. Muscles are warm now, less stiff. Still tired, but agreeable. The farmer listens. Wind and grass. Distant water moving somewhere beyond the fields. Maybe the fjord. Maybe a stream. Water always finds a way to be heard if you give it a chance. He hears animals too. A faint bleat. A low call from a cow. They sound calm. That matters. Calm animals mean fewer surprises later. Family members rest nearby. Some lean on tools. Some sit on stones. Nobody talks much. Talking would break the moment. This pause is not for words. Children pick at the ground. Toss small stones. Watch insects move through the soil. They learn without realizing it. The land teaches quietly. The farmer feels the strain in his arms now that he is still. Dullic. Acceptable. Honest work leaves honest marks. He rolls his shoulders once and lets them drop again. This pause is short on purpose. Too long and the body cools. Too short and the mind never settles. Viking farmers learn the balance through years of listening to their own limits. He thinks without thinking. No plans. No worries. Just awareness. The sky. The field. His breath. This kind of reflection does not need words. Words would only get in the way. The sun slips from behind a cloud and warms his face. He closes his eyes for a moment. Just a moment. Enough to feel it. Not enough to drift. This is how rest works here. Not stopping. Just softening. A breeze lifts the edge of his cloak. He adjusts it without looking. Habit does the work. Somewhere a bird calls again. Different from the others. Shorter. Sharper. He listens curious, then lets it go. Not everything needs a response. The farmer takes another small drink. The container is lighter now. He puts it away and flexes his fingers. Dirt falls free. More stays. Both are fine. He glances at the field again. Rose waiting. Work paused, not finished. The land understands this. It always does. This gentle pacing is not accidental. It keeps the body steady, keeps the mind from running too far ahead. Farming teaches patience, even when you would rather be done already. The wind shifts slightly. Clouds move on. Light changes. These are the signs. The pause is ending. The farmer opens his eyes fully and straightens. He does not rush back to the plow. He walks, calm, measured, ready. Before picking up the tool, he takes one last look around. This moment will not repeat itself exactly. No moment ever does. But mornings like this are close enough to feel familiar. The pause has done its job. The land has spoken softly, and the farmer, rested just enough, returns to work with steady hands and a quiet mind, carrying the calm of mid-morning with him as the day moves on. Chapter 9. Crafting and Repairs ****. After the pause, the day shifts direction. Not away from work, just into a quieter kind. This is the part of the day where things are fixed instead of pushed, where hands slow down and focus narrows. The farmer walks the fence line first. Fences always need something. A loose post, broken rail, a place where an animal tested the rules and almost won. He spots a weak section right away. Of course he does. Fences enjoy being dramatic. He kneels and presses on the wood. It moves. That answers the question. A repair it is. A replacement post is dragged over. Rough, heavy, still smelling of fresh-cut wood. The farmer sets it in place and works it into the ground with steady force. Not fast. Fast leads to crooked. Crooked leads to fixing it again later. Tools come out. Hammer, wooden mallet, iron nails bent and reused more than once. Nothing here is new without reason. Metal takes effort. Wood takes time. Both are respected. Sharpening comes next. A blade dull from field work rests on a stone. The farmer draws it across slowly, again and again. The sound is soft and steady. Scratch, scratch, scratch. The kind of sound that makes your thoughts quiet down. He tests the edge with his thumb. Carefully. He likes his thumbs. Sharp enough. Good. Simple woodworking fills the next stretch of time. A broken handle replaced. A cracked board trimmed and reset. Small jobs that keep bigger problems away. Farming teaches this lesson early. Ignore small damage, and it becomes a large one with very bad timing. The farmer measures with his eyes, cuts without marking. Years of practice guide his hands. Not perfect, but right enough. Reuse is everywhere. A piece of wood once part of a crate now becomes a brace. An old tool head gets a new handle. Nothing is thrown away unless it truly has nothing left to give. Repair is not a sign of lack. It is a sign of skill. Anyone can use something new. Knowing how to keep something working is different. Some tools here are older than the farmer. A knife once held by his father. A hammer that belonged to someone whose name is no longer spoken but still remembered through use. These tools carry weight beyond iron and wood. He treats them carefully, not gently, just properly. The work is quiet. No talking, no rushing, just repetitive motion. Cut, fit, just try again. This rhythm pulls the mind inward. Worries fade. Only the task remains. The child sits nearby watching, not helping yet, just watching. That is how it starts. The farmer does not explain much. Hens learn better by seeing. A fence rail fits into place with a dull thud. Solid. Satisfying. He gives it a small shake. It holds. He nods once. Approval given. The sun moves higher. Light shifts across the yard. Time passes without being counted. This kind of work lives outside numbers. The farmer sharpens another tool, then another. The pile of ready tools grows. The pile of dull ones shrinks. Order returns, piece by piece. His hands ache in a different way now. Not from force, from precision. Small muscles working. This ache is quieter, more thoughtful. Self-sufficiency lives in moments like this, knowing that if something breaks, you can answer back, knowing you are not helpless. The land demands this confidence. He wipes sweat from his brow and keeps going. The repair is not done until it is done. Half-finished work has a way of judging you later. When the fence is finished, he steps back and looks. Stray enough, strong enough. It will hold animals and weather for a while. That is success. Tools are gathered and returned to their places. Not thrown down, not forgotten. Tools treated well last longer. They remember. The farmer flexes his fingers and rolls his shoulders. He feels tired, but steady. Useful tired. The good kind. This work will not be remembered by anyone else. No one will praise the fence. No one will admire the sharpened blade. But tomorrow, and the day after, everything will work a little better because of it. That is the quiet pride of self-sufficiency. Not loud, not flashy, just knowing you can handle what the day hands you. The farmer takes one last look at the repairs, then turns away. There will always be more to fix. But for now, the farm holds together. And sometimes that is more than enough. Chapter 10, The Midday Meal ****. By the time the sun climbs to its middle point, the farmer and his family are ready for another pause. Not rest exactly, but a refuel. Midday meal. Not fancy. Not indulgent. Just necessary. They return to the longhouse, or sometimes sit just outside if the sun is warm enough. The air smells of earth, wood, and work. A few clouds drift lazily above. Birds call in the distance. Everything feels slow, even the shadows. Food is simple. Bread, dense and dark, torn to chunks by hand. Cheese, firm and salty, cut into pieces that are easy to pass around. Fish, maybe smoked, maybe salted from earlier preservation. And sometimes a thin soup, made from yesterday's stock, warmed over the fire. The ingredients are modest, but they carry the strength of the land and the labor already done. Bowls and plates are wooden. Spoons are rough but effective. Everyone grabs their share without fuss. Nobody talks much. Conversation at this hour is minimal. Talking takes energy that the body needs for the fields, the animals, and the tasks that will return once the meal is done. The farmer eats slowly. He tastes the bread, slightly bitter but filling. The cheese is sharp enough to make him smile briefly. Fish flakes easily. Soup warms the belly, steam curling into the air. Eating like this reminds him why work matters. Fuel first. Enjoyment later, if at all. Children chew quietly. A few glance at one another and giggle at small, unimportant things. Adults notice and allow it. Laughter is fine as long as it doesn't slow eating. The fire crackles softly in the hearth, steady and comforting. It reminds everyone that warmth exists, even when the wind outside is cold. If eating outdoors, the sun and mild breeze offer the same kind of quiet reassurance. Hands busy, mouths moving, eyes half closed from the midday heat. The family functions like a single unit. Movement is slow and deliberate. Bowls are emptied, bread chunks disappear. Milk or water follows if available. The ritual is simple, repeated countless times over generations. Even the act of cleaning up after the meal is part of the rhythm. Crumbs swept aside, dishes rinsed, wooden utensils returned to their resting place. Nothing wasted, everything accounted for. This attention keeps the day moving without friction. The farmer rests his hands for a moment, feeling the work already done and the work yet to come. Muscles loosen. Backaches fade slightly. The body understands this pause. Midday is the quiet pivot point, the calm center of the day. Outside, animals graze or doze in small sun patches. Birds watch from above. The land itself seems to exhale with them. The pause is shared, not just human. Everything aligns briefly: food, warmth, air, and light. The midday meal is not a celebration. It does not need to be. Its purpose is clear: restore, sustain, continue. The rhythm of life on the farm depends on it. Miss it, and the next hours will feel twice as long, twice as heavy. The farmer finishes his portion. He wipes his hands on a cloth, checks that the fire or sun will continue to provide comfort, and looks around at the family. All present. Already, the meal has done its work. Silently, they prepare to return to tasks. Bowls stacked, spoons at rest, bread saved if possible. Energy restored, muscles reminded that they can keep moving. The day has a rhythm, and the midday meal marks the center. This pause is as much about awareness as it is about food. Watching the sky, noticing the wind, feeling the earth beneath feet, noticing the animals, reflecting quietly on the land, the work, and the simple pleasures of surviving another morning. The meal ends, not with words, but with small motions. A nod, a stretch, a soft breath. Everyone moves back into the day gently. Calm, steady, ready for the next rhythm. Work, observation, care, repeat. And in this quiet, unassuming way, the midday meal keeps the Viking farmer alive, focused, and in tune with the slow, patient life he has always known. Chapter 11, Afternoon labor and gathering asterisk asterisk. After the midday meal, the body is warm, the stomach full, and the mind ready for the next part of the day. Afternoon is not about rush. It is about steady work, the kind that keeps the farm running and prepares for seasons ahead. The farmer steps outside first, boots crunching over soft earth. Sunlight has shifted. Shadows are longer now, stretching across the fields and grazing areas. Light catches on wooden fences, highlighting the texture of old beams. Everything looks familiar, but different. That is the magic of the afternoon. Firewood comes first. Logs stacked near the barn are carried carefully to the longhouse or the outdoor fireplace. Each piece is tested for weight. Too heavy, and you risk strain. Too light, and it will burn too quickly. The farmer balances this with practiced hands. Muscles remember what the brain does not need to think about. Children help where they can. Not with heavy logs, of course, but small branches kindling twigs for the fire. They giggle when a branch is too long to carry, bumping into one another. The farmer smiles without interrupting. Their small hands still count. Their small work still matters. Foraging follows. Berries, herbs, and wild plants. The forest edge is quiet, alive. Leaves rustle underfoot. Birds call from high branches. The farmer moves slowly, careful not to disturb what is not ready to be taken. Each berry plucked is a small reward. Each herb gathered a promise for taste or medicine later. Children mimic his motions, learning without being taught. Fingers pinch leaves and berries gently. They ask questions sometimes. Why this one, not that one? The answer is often a quiet nod or a soft word. This one will last. Experience teaches better than long speeches. The pace is slower now. Early morning energy has faded. Afternoon work relies on rhythm, not rush. Hands and eyes do the thinking. The land guides them. One step, one branch, one load at a time. Some tasks are preparation for winter. Stacks of firewood are arranged carefully, shelter from rain. Herbs are hung to dry. Berries stored in wooden containers. These efforts seem small now, but when snow falls and frost bites, they make survival possible. The light continues to shift. Sun tilts toward the horizon. Shadows grow long and soft. Colors deepen. The land changes tone. It signals that the day is moving onward. That work must adjust to light, not just to will. The farmer pauses to look around. The work done so far is visible. Neatly stacked wood, small bundles of herbs, containers filled with berries. Progress is quiet but undeniable. Satisfaction does not need words. It is felt in tired arms and steady breath. Children tire too. They sit on stones or low logs, catching their breath. Some pick at stray leaves. Some watch animals move across fields. The pause is natural. Their work for today is done. They will rest while the sun slowly moves west. Animals watch with interest. A cow lifts its head from grazing. A goat snorts, nudging a smaller one. Life continues around them, independent of human plans. The farmer notices this and smiles slightly. Everything has its rhythm. Gathering is as much about mindfulness as it is survival. The farmer listens to the wind in the trees, watches light filter through leaves, feels the soil and undergrowth underfoot. Awareness keeps mistakes low and opportunities high. Branches break underfoot occasionally. The farmer steps over roots and rocks. Each careful movement conserves energy. Repetition is soothing. The rhythm of bending, lifting, placing, straightening becomes almost meditative. By late afternoon, the loads of wood are in place, herbs and berries sorted. Children sit quietly now, tired but proud. The farmer takes a moment for himself, leaning against a fence post. He looks out across the fields, the forest edge, the barn. The land has been tended again. It is ready for the evening, ready for the night. This work is never glamorous. There are no songs sung, no cheering crowds. Only the quiet satisfaction of preparation. Only the understanding that when snow falls, when cold comes, the farm and the family will be ready. And with the sun dipping lower, the farmer knows the day's rhythm will soon shift toward evening. Fire will be stoked. Animals checked once more. The longhouse warmth will call. But for now, the land and the family rest a little, carrying the effort of afternoon labor gently with them. As the slow light slides across the fields and the day continues onward. Chapter 12, Spiritual Awareness and Norse Beliefs ****. The day is stretching toward evening now. Muscles are tired, hands are marked with work, but the mind slows into a different rhythm. This is the time for quiet acknowledgement, for noticing the invisible threads that connect life, land, and the unseen. Viking farmers did not always bow in temples. They did not always speak loudly to gods. Worship was not a performance. It was awareness, a quiet sense that the world was not entirely theirs, that some things moved by other rules, that the land, the weather, the animals, they were guided by powers beyond reach. The farmer pauses at the edge of the field, letting eyes sweep the horizon. Mist curls over the distant hills. Shadows stretch over the soil. Light fades gently. He breathes slow and steady, and in that stillness he notices what cannot be held. The land holds spirits. The Veatir, they called them. Guardians of fields, forests, and waters. Not dangerous in a cartoon way. Just present. Watching. Interacting in ways subtle and quiet. You do not need to see them to respect them. You just do. Step carefully. Leave things in order. Speak softly. They notice. Household spirits, too, linger inside the longhouse. Quiet figures in the mind if not in sight. Watching over food, fire, and family. The farmer does not whisper to them with ceremony. A small nod, a soft glance at the hearth. A quiet gesture of respect. That is enough. No drama. No grand gestures, just mindfulness. The farmer knows that accidents happen. Crops fail. Animals get sick. But some disasters can be avoided with respect. Keeping spaces clean, avoiding anger in words, treating tools, animals, and earth carefully. These acts are small, mundane, but significant. The wind lifts over the fields, soft now. The farmer imagines it carrying messages to unseen ears. Perhaps it does. Perhaps not. The act of imagining is enough to hold the day steady. Superstitions arise naturally here. Leave a tool outside overnight. Maybe the spirits frown. Plant seeds on the wrong day. Expect patchy growth. Never say anything disrespectful to the animals. Misfortune may follow. These beliefs are practical in disguise. They teach observation, careful work, and patience. The farmer moves slowly toward the barn. He passes animals and greets them in his quiet way. Each cow, sheep, and goat is a living being. Respect them. They carry life forward. They work with him and for the family. Recognition matters. He stops again in the yard, looks at the sky where clouds gather. Not threatening, just present. Rain may come, wind may rise, seasons will change. Acknowledging this is part of the spiritual rhythm. You do not control it. You accept it, adapt, and prepare. Children watch him sometimes. They may not understand spirits or gods yet, but they notice his pauses, his quiet attention, his soft gestures. They learn by watching. Spiritual awareness is subtle, but it is felt more than it is explained. The sun tilts lower, colors softening. Shadows stretch across fence posts and barn beams. Life feels different now, cooler, calmer. Perfect for reflection without words. The land itself seems to whisper, soft noises, wind through leaves, distant calls of birds. Nothing dramatic, just present. The farmer reaches toward a small herb bundle hanging to dry. He touches it lightly, a small nod, a silent acknowledgement of both the herb's usefulness and the unseen power that guides growth. Even this small act carries meaning. There is no rush, no ticking clock, no need for ceremony to prove faith. The day's work, the rhythm of the land, the attention given to animals, crops, and tools, all of it is connected to the unseen. Observing, respecting, listening. That is enough. Some may call it superstition. Some may call it belief. For the farmer, it is simply how life flows. How attention to small things keeps disaster at bay. How respect fosters calm. How awareness keeps the heart steady. The day begins to cool. Shadows stretch across the yard. Mist lifts slightly from low patches. The farmer exhales. He feels connected to the land, the animals, the family, and the invisible presence around it all. Evening work will come. Animals checked again. Fire stoked, tools stored. But for this pause, this awareness, the world is quiet. Not empty. Not controlled. Just acknowledged. The farmer smiles faintly, noticing the wind shift and the sun's last warmth on his face. No words spoken. No chants. Just a nod to the forces seen and unseen. Life is orderly enough today. Safe enough. And that in itself is a quiet blessing. With that, he moves on to the next task, carrying the calm, mystical undertone of the day like a soft cloak. The land, the family, and the unseen all continue their slow, patient rhythm as the Viking farmer walks steadily through the late afternoon. Chapter 13, evening chores and returning animals asterisk asterisk. The sun dips lower now, brushing the horizon with pale gold. Shadows stretch across the farmstead. Muscles ache, backs stiffen, and the farmer knows it is time for the evening chores. Slow, steady work, closing the day gently. The first task is always the animals. Cows, sheep, goats, and pigs need shelter before darkness falls. The farmer moves toward the pastures, boots soft on damp grass. Animals notice him immediately. They do not rush, but they adjust. Cows turn slowly. Sheep bleat softly. Goats snort. Even pigs wander toward the barn, curious and slightly impatient. Each animal has its rhythm. Some wander more than others. The farmer calls quietly, a sound they recognize. Not a command, just acknowledgement. They respond in kind. The bond is quiet, built on daily interaction. Cattle come first. He guides them toward the barn with practiced steps. A hand on a flank, a gentle nudge from behind. One cow hesitates. The farmer does not scold. Patience works better than words. Eventually, the cow moves, slow but steady. Sheep and goats follow. They cluster together, moving as a small, woolly parade. Children sometimes help here, lightly hurting the smaller animals. Laughter bubbles briefly when a goat tries to bolt. The farmer shakes his head but smiles. Chaos is part of the evening, too. The pigs are last, always dramatic. They root around, snuffling for anything forgotten in the yard. The farmer blocks the exit and guides them into their pen. Grunts of protest, snorts of satisfaction, both are normal. Eventually, they settle inside. Once animals are secured, attention turns to barns and fences. Gates are checked. Latches examined. Any weak points reinforced. The farmer moves slowly now. Energy is low. Tiredness pulls muscles, but focus remains sharp. Evening mistakes are costly. One loose post, one open gate, and the night could be chaotic. Fences creak in the wind. Some need a gentle push, some a small adjustment. The farmer walks the lines carefully, hands brushing against weathered wood. The fences are old, sometimes crooked, but they hold. And that is what matters. The barn doors are heavy. He pulls them closed, testing the locks. Everything's secured. Animals inside, structure stable. The evening is partially tamed. Fields get one last glance. Rows of barley, rye, and oats reflect the remaining sunlight. Shadows stretch along the furrows. The soil holds the memory of the day's work. The farmer breathes it in. Satisfying. Calm. Enough for now. Children wander nearby, quiet now. Small hands brush grass and stones. Some collect a few fallen twigs, as if even they understand the need to prepare for night. No words needed. Observation teaches as much as instruction. The sky shifts from gold to soft pink and then deeper violet. Stars begin to peek out faintly at first. The world is slowing. The pace of work softens with it. The farmer's own body moves differently now. slower, careful with tired joints. He bends to check a gate latch, straightens with a small grunt. The ache in his back reminds him of the day's effort, a quiet medal for labor done. Evening chores are routine, same motions repeated day after day. Yet they carry comfort, familiarity in motion, predictability in tasks. Knowing the animals are safe, the fences are solid, and the fields are intact allows the mind to rest before night fully arrives. The family gathers near the longhouse, boots dusty, tunics marked with straw and soil, hands rough from work. They exchange a few quiet words, checking that all is done. Complaints are absent. Work has been completed, and that is enough. The farmer glances once more at the horizon. The fjord reflects the soft violet light. Mist begins to rise from low patches, curling slowly through the field edges. Sound of the day fade. Birds are quiet. Wind is soft. The farm holds its breath with him. He turns to the barn one last time, ensuring all animals are settled. Sheep are lying down, goats chewing slowly, cows humming their contented low tones, pigs snuffling quietly. Everything is in place. The rhythm of evening is complete. There is satisfaction in repetition, in the slow, predictable acts of survival. The farmer feels it in his muscles, his bones, and even in the quiet of his thoughts. Each task, each step, each careful motion builds the safety net for the night ahead. The day will end soon. Fire will be stoked in the longhouse. Doors will be closed against cold and wind. Family members will rest. But before that, the evening chores mark the transition. From work to rest. From activity to calm. From daylight to night. The farmer breathes deeply, letting the quiet settle around him. The farm is ready for darkness. He is ready to step back, knowing the animals are safe, the land is tended, and the rhythm of life continues as it always has. And with that, he turns toward the longhouse, body tired, mind calm, carrying the satisfaction of another day completed and the gentle promise of a quiet night soon to come. Chapter 14, Evening Fire and Storytelling ****. The longhouse welcomes them back with quiet warmth. Outside, the sky has darkened to deep purple, and the first stars appear like shy eyes peeking from the night. The farmer steps inside, boots soft on the worn floor, and the smell of wood smoke and earth greets him. The hearth fire is rebuilt. Small sticks first, then larger logs. Sparks rise and settle as flames catch, growing steadily into soft warmth. Smoke curls lazily through the roof's opening, a signal that life continues inside. The flickering light reflects on wooden beams, tools, and simple furniture, making everything feel alive but calm. Children sit cross-legged on straw mats, eyes wide, faces illuminated by the fire's glow. They have followed the day's work, helped a little, observed much, and now the reward comes, stories. Quiet stories, told without rush, without the need for perfection. Stories meant to fill the heart as the night fills the sky. Adults settle nearby. Some sit on low benches, others lean against walls. Conversation is minimal, soft. Chuckle here, hum there. The energy of the house has shifted from work to memory, reflection, and comfort. The farmer begins quietly, speaking of simple things at first. The day, small observations, animals' odd behavior, the shifting clouds over the fields. The children listen, not because it is exciting, but because it is familiar, safe, and theirs. There is rhythm in the mundane. Gradually, the stories turn to past events. Tales of family, of neighbors, of storms and harvests. Names and faces are remembered. Laughter comes quietly at clever lines, or when a child recognizes a character in the tale. No one shouts. No one needs to. The fire itself provides drama enough, dancing shadows on the walls. Oral tradition is alive here. Memory is sharpened by repetition. Lessons hidden in stories. Practical advice woven into humor. Wisdom passed down without writing, preserved because it matters. The children absorb more than they realize. Which plants to respect, how to notice weather signs, the value of patience and care. Sometimes the stories touch on the gods and spirits, not with fear, but with acknowledgement. Tales of the Veatir in the fields, household spirits keeping watch, small warnings in soft tones. The children listen, captivated, not frightened. The farmer does not exaggerate. There is no need. Mystery is enough. Meals are long past. Hunger is quiet now. The fire's warmth fills bellies as much as bread and cheese did earlier. The house smells of smoke, wood, and comfort. Outside, the animals are settled, the fence is secure. The world is contained, predictable, safe. The child shifts closer to a parent, mimicking a habit seen countless times. Listening, learning, resting. The farmer notices with a faint smile. These small gestures are the heartbeat of the household. Quiet attention, shared presence. That is as important as any story. Sometimes the storytelling is interactive. A question here, a suggestion there. What happened after the storm? Or did the goat really escape? Answers come softly, with a chuckle or a nod. The stories grow with each telling, enriched by memory and imagination alike. The longhouse feels suspended in time. Outside, night deepens. Inside, warmth, light, and quiet voices create a world distinct from the cold, dark land beyond the walls. Each crackle of the fire punctuates the tale, every shadow a moving part of the narrative. Adults occasionally glance at one another, sharing small smiles, brief observations, or silent humor about the day's work. These moments are subtle, easy to miss, but they anchor the household together. The stories connect more than the past. They bind the present. The farmer finishes a tale with a small nod, letting the children absorb the conclusion. No need to explain morals. They will learn through repetition, memory, and quiet reflection. Words are tools, but experience shapes understanding. The fire burns lower now, the room glowing with gentle amber light. Shadows stretch and shrink with every flicker. The longhouse is alive but calm, filled with warmth, stories, and the soft breathing of the family. The evening draws toward rest. Children's eyes grow heavy. Voices quiet. Laughter softens. The fire continues its slow dance, holding the room together as darkness presses in from outside. The farmer sits back, letting the rhythm of storytelling, warmth, and quiet companionship fill him. Muscles ache from the day, but the mind is calm. The body relaxes. The stories linger in the air, gentle as the smoke curling through the roof. This is the reward of the day, Not food, not work completed, not even praise, but shared presence. Knowledge passed through voice, humor, and observation. Calm, safety, the quiet understanding that life continues, and that tomorrow the same rhythm will resume. With one last glance at the fire, the farmer exhales slowly. Shadows dance on the walls, the children drift towards sleep, and the longhouse rests, carrying memories of the day and the soft, persistent hum of family, land, and life intertwined. The night is gentle. The fire is steady, and the Viking farmer, surrounded by warmth, storytelling, and quiet satisfaction, feels the slow, peaceful ending of another day. Chapter 15. Preparing for sleep asterisk asterisk. The fire burns low now, casting a soft glow across the longhouse. The day's work is done. The animals are settled. The tools are cleaned and put away. The house smells of smoke, wood, and a faint trace of earth. Evening has ended. Night is ready to take its place. The farmer begins by removing his work clothes. Tunic, trousers, boots, all carry the scent of soil, sweat, and labor. Each piece is carefully folded or hung on pegs. Boots are set near the doorway, ready for tomorrow. The act is simple but soothing. It separates the day's work from the night's rest. Children mimic him quietly, slipping out of their rough tunics, their small hands fumbling with buttons or ties. They giggle softly when something resists. He smiles. This is part of the rhythm of life, learning small skills without needing to be told too many times. Tools come next. Sharpened, cleaned, stored neatly. Hammers, sickles, knives, plows, they all have their places. A tool cared for today will work tomorrow without complaint. Nothing is left lying around. Order in the longhouse keeps the mind calm. Disorder invites worry, even at night. The farmer moves to lay bedding near the hearth. Straw, furs, and wool blankets stacked in careful layers. Warmth gathers around the sleeping areas. Even in the chill of a northern night, the fire's lingering heat and the insulation of straw make a comfortable nest. Children settle onto their bedding first. They wiggle, adjust blankets, arrange furs just so. Their little rituals echo the household rhythm, attention to detail, care for comfort, a hint of playfulness before sleep. Adults follow. The farmer stretches quietly before lying down. Muscles ache, but in a good way. The ache reminds him of work done, of effort earned. He breathes slowly, letting his body soften against the bedding, feeling the heat from the hearth and the warmth of shared space. Safety is woven into every habit. The animals are locked in, the doors secured, fire controlled. The longhouse is calm, predictable, and safe. These small actions allow the mind to slow without worry. Awareness has done its work. Vigilance rests now. The room quiets. Shadows from the dying fire flicker across walls and ceiling. Every creak of wood, every soft sigh of the wind outside blends into a gentle rhythm. The family is present together, yet each person drifts into their own thoughts. Calm, slow, reflective thoughts. Breathing deepens naturally. Inhale, exhale, inhale. The body remembers the day's exertion and relaxes. Thoughts of unfinished tasks fade. Tomorrow's work will come, but for now, the present is enough. Even the children's small movements slow. Eyelids droop. Soft murmurs disappear. The longhouse breathes with the family, settling into a shared stillness. The farmer listens, the distant call of an owl, the faint rustle of straw, the soft shifting of someone adjusting beneath furs. The night's quiet is layered, alive, but gentle. Nothing demands attention. Nothing rushes. He reflects on the day without words. The animals fed, the fields tended, tools repaired, fire stoked, stories told. Life has flowed steadily from dawn to dusk. He feels the rhythm still in his chest, slow and even, guiding him towards sleep. The hearth flickers low, casting warmth and shadow in equal measure. Sleep will come soon. Breathing remains calm. Muscles release tension. Mind slows further. Each exhale carries a little of the day away, leaving space for rest. Outside, the northern night stretches across the land. Inside, the longhouse is a cocoon. The farmer feels the layers of safety, warmth, and routine wrapping around him. Shared space, shared history, shared rhythm, all protect the night. The last thoughts are soft, almost wordless. Gratitude, satisfaction, quiet hope for tomorrow. Nothing urgent, nothing demanding. Just the gentle acknowledgement of life, steady and unbroken. Eyes closed. The fire crackles once softly, then fades further. The longhouse settles completely. Shadows stretch and shrink in the dim light. Everyone breathes in unison, a slow, calm cadence. And in that calm, the Viking farmer drifts into sleep. Safe, warm, content. The day's work completed. The household resting. The night carrying them gently toward the promise of a new dawn. Chapter 16, Night in the Viking World ****. Night has fully arrived. Darkness drapes the farm like a heavy wool cloak. The sky is clear above the fjord, stars scattered like tiny lanterns, cold and steady, watching over the land. The longhouse rests quietly, the hearth's last embers fading to soft orange glows. Outside, the wind whispers through trees, bends the grass, and carries faint scents of earth and water. Distant sounds of animals shift softly. A cow stirs in its stall, a goat snuffles, sheep breathe slowly, steady. The sounds are familiar, comforting, part of the rhythm that never truly stops. The farmer lies still on his bedding, feeling the warmth of layered straw and furs. His muscles ache slightly from the day's labor, but the ache is welcome. It is the honest mark of work done. The body remembers every step, every lift, every pull. It also remembers rest. This is the balance of life here. Sleep is not escape. It is restoration. It is part of the cycle. Without it, the fields cannot be plowed, the animals cannot be cared for, and the fire cannot be tended. It is a tool as vital as the plow, the hammer, and the hoe. The Viking farmer respects it, gives it space, and welcomes it without guilt. Thoughts drift naturally toward tomorrow. The day will begin with dawn, work in the fields, tending animals, repairing fences, gathering resources. But those thoughts are soft, gentle, not worries. They are reminders, not alarms. Planning is part of life, not a burden. The wind shifts outside, brushing against the longhouse walls. The creak of timber is rhythmic, almost musical. Shadows flicker briefly, cast by the dying embers in the hearth. The house is alive but calm. There is motion without urgency, life without chaos. The farmer breathes steadily, in, in. Each exhale carries a little of the day's tension away. Muscles relax further. Thoughts settle. Even the mind's small reminders of tasks fade into a soft, manageable hum. Silence surrounds the longhouse. Not complete silence, of course. The night has its own voice. The low call of a distant bird, the rustle of leaves, the occasional shift of an animal. These are not distractions. They are markers that the world continues, predictable and steady. The fjord beyond reflects the faint starlight. Water moves gently, whispering quietly against rocks and shore. The farmer imagines tomorrow's work across these fields and hills, but only in broad strokes. No rushing, no stress, just awareness, acceptance, readiness. Hardship is part of the day. Frost may come early. Rain may ruin a field. Animals may fall ill. But the night teaches calm. It is a pause, a chance to store strength for the struggles and joys that will inevitably return. Hardship is accepted, but it is not feared. Routine provides structure. The warmth of the family, the closeness of the longhouse, and the security of work done protect the mind. No shadows of anxiety linger here. The Viking farmer knows that tomorrow light will return. Fire will be stoked. Animals will call. Work will resume. For now, stillness is enough. The rhythm of breath continues. Eyes close slowly, noticing each exhale. Thoughts soften, drift. Muscles loosen. The body sinks further into bedding, resting, recovering. Mind, body, and heart align with the slow pulse of the night. Outside, stars move imperceptibly across the sky. Clouds drift by, occasional shapes forming and fading. The land, the fjord, the animals, and the longhouse itself all rest together. The world is quiet, steady, unhurried. Even small sounds, like the faint shifting of straw under a resting sheep or the snuffle of a pig, are part of the calm. They remind the farmer that life is alive but gentle now. Presence without action is a gift. Sleep deepens, steady and uninterrupted. Muscles and mind recover. Breath continues its quiet rhythm. The farmer is part of the night as much as the night is part of the farm. No more planning. No more work. Just the soft hush of existence. Darkness wraps around a longhouse, holding it safe. Stars watch silently from afar. The fjord glimmers faintly, patient, unmoving, eternal. And in that quiet, the Viking farmer rests fully, restored, aware, and connected. Tomorrow will come, but tonight belongs entirely to sleep, to calm, to stillness. The night continues unbroken. The longhouse breathes gently. Fire embers fade. Animals rest. The world sleeps alongside them, steady, slow, and patient. And silence fills every corner, carrying the quiet satisfaction of a day lived, a body rested, and a world at peace. Life on a Viking farm changes slowly, but dramatically with the seasons. Summer brings long days, soft light, and endless work that seems to stretch endlessly with the sun. Winter arrives with quiet, cold, and a different rhythm entirely. The farmer feels it in his bones and plans every task around it. In summer, the farm is alive in color and sound. Barley, rye, and oats grow thick in the fields. green waving in the breeze. Animals roam more freely, grazing under bright skies. Birds chatter, insects buzz. Every step outside brings the smell of warm earth, fresh grass, and the occasional tang of manure, which is really just fertilizer in disguise. Work in summer is long and physical. Plowing, planting, weeding, tending animals, gathering food from wild plants. The farmer rises early, moves steadily, and keeps pace with the sun. Evenings are warm, fire embers crackle lazily, and the longhouse feels cozy after a day in open fields. Fatigue is satisfying. Meals are hearty, but often eaten quickly, as there is always more to do. Winter is almost the opposite. Days are short. The sun barely rises before sinking low again, leaving long shadows over frozen fields. Snow or frost coats the ground, and the farmer must move more cautiously. Animals need extra attention. Shelters must be reinforced. Water may freeze, forcing trips to streams or stored barrels. Work is slower, not because there is less to do, but because nature demands care. Clothing changes too. Layers of wool, furs, and leather are essential. Fingers stiffen, toes grow cold, and each movement requires more energy. Even lifting a small log feels heavier when the air bites its skin and breath hangs in clouds. The rhythm of labor adapts. Less long hours in the field, more indoor work, repairing tools, preparing food, tending fires. Meals in winter are different as well. Foods that lasted from harvest, dried meat, stored grains, preserved fish, become the backbone of survival. Porridge is thicker, broth richer, fire stoked longer. Each meal is slower, mindful, and comforting. The farmer and his family share warmth as much as food. Despite hardship, winter has its own rhythm. The long nights allow for storytelling, quiet reflection, and attention to smaller tasks that summer might push aside. Crafting, repairing, mending, or preparing for next year all find their place when the day outside is short. Children may learn by watching adults repair tools or tend the hearth. Observation is their teacher. Animals adjust too. Cattle, goats, sheep, and pigs are sheltered carefully. Food is rationed. Snow is cleared from paths. They huddle together, not from fear, but from instinct and warmth. The farmer watches and notices their small movements, learning patterns that help survive. The contrast between summer and winter is more than weather. It is life itself. In summer, the farm thrives in motion and growth. In winter, it survives in preparation, observation, and careful planning. Both seasons demand respect and patience. Neither can be rushed, and both shape the farmer as much as he shapes the land. Even the mind adapts. Summer thinking is expansive, planning the next field, considering harvest, counting livestock. Winter thinking is introspective, tools, storage, firewood, survival. The farmer's mind moves with the seasons, quiet in winter, alert in summer, always aware of the land and time. Children notice the differences too. In summer, they run, play, help lightly with planting or carrying water. In winter, their games are quieter, indoor, or involve assisting with small tasks. They learn patience, resilience, and observation without being taught in long lectures. The household shifts subtly as well. Heat is constant in winter. Breezes flow through open doors in summer. Meals eaten together are warmer, richer, and slower when the cold is outside. Storytelling happens later in winter, earlier in summer. Clothing, chores, and rhythm all adjust with subtlety that the farmer and family know instinctively. Through the seasons, the Viking farm lives and breathes. Summer offers abundance and exertion. Winter provides quiet, reflection, and preparation. Both demand care, both require labor, both teach lessons. The farmer learns to love the rhythm of each. He learns to anticipate the shift, respect the cold, and celebrate the sun. By understanding the seasons, the farm thrives not because work is easy, but because it aligns with the land. Nature dictates the pace, and the Viking farmer moves in tune, finding satisfaction in adaptation, patience, and steady care. Even in the harshest frost, even in the longest day of summer, life continues. Animals are fed, fields are tended, and the longhouse holds warmth. The farmer moves with purpose, calm and steady, a small but vital part of a slow, patient, ever-changing rhythm. And as night falls in winter or summer, the same quiet satisfaction settles over the farm. Work done, animals safe, family rested. Seasons shift, but life persists, slow, deliberate, and entirely alive.